We're told in the gospel today, after Christmas was all over, 12 years later, he gets lost, they think, in the temple. And he said, "What do you mean? You should have known where I was." What does that say? Well, I remember my brothers, and I guess I did. You have selective memory sometime, but when we got lost, we didn't get lost too far, because my parents knew that if my brother Nunzio was lost, we went to the lake and he was fishing. That was it. Or my brother Nick, he was going nuts in the garage with his drums. Different things, right? They knew. And Jesus is really telling Mary and Joseph, why were you roaming around for 3 days? You knew you should have known. Why would they think he should have known? Well, we know he was the Son of God, is the Son of God. But for those first 12 years, he was taking notes. And the notes in the Holy Family were about Moses and the law and the chosen people and the Sabbath and going actually to the synagogue. He was taking notes. He was the Son of God, but he was also a human being. And so he was taking the notes of humanity that takes notes long before kindergarten. Unfortunately today, an awful lot that happens from kindergarten on has to replace an awful lot that used to be done in the home, because things are really not good, either in the home or in society. So the kids have to be fed at school because they can't be fed at home for any number of reasons. Or there's a problem with development of some sort, and there might not be the presence of a father, especially, to try to bring that around. That's not to put the school down, but it's to say that sometimes what is lacking can be seen. I can say that. As a former educator, you could tell right away that something wasn't right. The child was not serene, not content, not at home with himself or herself because of something lacking. And it was usually before kindergarten. So those formative years, you all know this, it's why you are parents and grandparents the way that you are most crucial. And Jesus experienced being wired according to the values of Mary and Joseph, Anne and Joachim, Elizabeth, the mother of John the Baptist, the village, the synagogue. And it was all one signal, no mixed signals, you can imagine. And that happens today. There are families that give a strong, single signal about what is important and not, what is good for you and not. And parents have a very difficult time. Single parents have a tougher time. Grandparents, who take the place of parents for a lot of reasons, have an even more difficult time. Because there's a generational gap, and yet it's not about a generational gap, it's about values that are eternal. Christian families, God-fearing families of any religion, when they have their signals straight, raise a family that is serene. The kids know what they're about. And they know that they're loved and that they love back. I sometimes tell the story, forgive me for repeating, but my youngest brother's kids were very little, and they had moved into a brand new development, and they had a boy and a girl next door. And my niece said to my sister-in-law, she was arguing with her brother, they still do today, and they're in their middle 20s, that Joe is telling lies. And my sister-in-law said, what's he saying? He's saying that Bobby next door told him that his father beats his mother. And my sister-in-law was amazed at that. She said, well, what do you mean? She said, well, he's telling a lie. Daddies don't beat mommies. It was something completely unknown to her, thank God. She was taking notes. With all the things that are not academic, not conscious. And so the Christ child, from Christmas morning until this incident 12 years later, was being wired. And that's what families have been trying to do. We were wired, and we were taking notes. And obviously, Christ was part of the note-taking. You wouldn't be here today if he was not part of the notes that you took. Why? Because it was constant. It was subliminal. It said what he is and what he's about and how to imitate him. Did anybody sit anybody down about that in a formal way? No. Maybe later on in religious education. But a lot of times, even in religious education, it's hard to do what is already not timed correctly pre-kindergarten. So that when they grow up at 12 and they stop talking to you, and we all stopped talking to our parents, even if we love them, and parents are worried what's going on, they're not talking. Parents who have wired rightly, they still have their heart in their mouth about some things because of the influence of outside, but not about their children or their grandchildren, their Christian or Catholic children, because they've been wired with an unbelievable and remarkable gospel that tells them that they have a dignity and nobody should walk all over them, and that other people have a dignity and they shouldn't walk all over them. And they wind up knowing what they're about. At a very early age, Jesus knew what he was about. He was the Son of God, but he also had to learn the stuff. And we see that in the gospel today of the Holy Family, and pray that our families, immediate and extended, and especially our parish family and their children, especially in our religious education programs, can find how to be like Jesus as they develop in their own journey of life. May God bless you all.